Welcome back to Team FastEddy and BajaPlanet.com. This tutorial is going to be a part 1 of a part 2 video, and the videos are going to concentrate on installing the Hemiboots put out by Hemistorm, and they are a replacement, or actually a substitute for using boots over your dog bones on the HPI Baja. It doesn't matter if it's the 5B or the 5T. And we'll go into the Hemiboots a little bit later on in our second tutorial in the series here. And on this particular tutorial, we're going to concentrate on what they're calling Hemi Risers, which is a secondary part that you probably should get if you're going to install the Hemiboots on a newer 5T, or if you're using the newer arms on your rear arms on your 5B. The way that the newer arms are manufactured, you run into a very small clearance issue, and you will need to raise up the perch on the shock, and this is accomplished by using the Hemi Risers. The Hemi Risers are very, very easy to install. First thing you're going to want to do is to remove your shock, and we're going to need to disassemble the shock. We're going to go ahead and pull down, pull off the perch, go ahead and take our springs off, and at that point we're going to open up the bottom of the shock, and of course you'll have to drain out all of your fluid, which we've already done on this for demonstration purposes. And at that point we're going to need to remove the piston assembly, and we're going to go ahead and strip the shock down to just the shaft and take off the nut, the washers, the spacer. At that point we're going to go ahead and pull off the bottom retainer and the boot so that we have just the shaft. If you take a look at the risers, they're made out of aluminum, and they have a recessed area here, which is basically going to replace the recessed area on your shaft for your boot to rest on. And there's a concave portion here which is going to slide over just like so. That's all there is to installing them. And at this point we're going to go ahead and put the shock back together. I'm going to put the boot on, and the boot will hook onto the little groove just like it does on your stock unit. I'm going to go ahead and put our bottom back together just like we would our shock. At that point we're going to need a washer and the piston, spacer, another washer, and the nut. Go ahead and tighten it down. Make sure everything's moving correctly. And at that point you're going to go ahead and refill your shocks, put the units back together, and build them back up just like you would with the springs on a stock unit. As you can see, that's what the Hemi Riser installed. If you choose to, you can use the stock rear boot. Again, these go only on the rear. You can use the stock rear boot, or it actually shortens it up enough you could probably get away with using a front boot on there if you would like to. And we're going to go ahead and put our spring back on, and then when we go to put the perch back on, it's going to sit over the Hemi spacer just like it would over your normal shock shaft. And as you can see here, so that's what your shock is going to look like with the Hemi Riser installed. What this is going to do is actually going to give you about a ½ inch more of preload is the end result, which actually you can raise. It allows you to raise the back of your Baja up an additional ½ inch if you choose for your ride height, or if you back off on the height ring and bring it almost all the way to the top, that's going to bring you back very, very close to the stock ride height. So you can use that as a baseline right there. Let's untwist our boot here. There we go. And that's how you install the Hemi Risers. And again, you're going to want to use those. You can use these standalone without the Hemi boots if you want to raise your ride height up a little bit. Give yourself a little bit more adjustment on your ride height setting. Or if you are going to use the Hemi boots on a 5T, you will want to use these because they do use the newer version of the rear A-arms. Or if you have a 5B and you are using the newer version of the rear A-arms, again, you will want to use the Hemi Risers. Stay tuned for part 2, and this is going to be installing the Hemi boots, and we're going to go a little bit more into detail about the Hemi boots, how they're made, and how to install them. Thanks for stopping by, Team FastEddy and Baja Planet. If you haven't stopped by our website yet, come on by and do so. We have hundreds and hundreds of product reviews like this one, as well as tutorials, installation, a very friendly forum to answer all of your Baja questions. So again, thanks for stopping by, Team FastEddy and Baja Planet.